Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Yusidie and thank you for checking out this channel again. Happy New Year, even though the year is probably almost, it's like the end of January right now. Beginning of the year, I decided that I was going to commit myself more to talking more on contributing more to this YouTube page. And so I decided to start off my year by reading Americanah by Chimamanda Adichie. So Chimamanda is a Nigerian writer who grew up in Uzuka, Enugu, and she has written other books apart from this one that you may have come across somehow. You may or may not come across. And so she wrote Purple Hibiscus, The Thing Around Your Neck, Half of a Yellow Sun, and the most recent one is Dear E.J. Awele. She has definitely won a lot of prizes for her writing. So, this is someone that is like on point. And also, yeah, so I'm just going to do a quick review of this book. As you know, doing reviews of books are not exactly easy because you can't really get everything about the book in just one conversation. Like it's something that has to go on and on and on. So, but this book has a lot to unpack. And so, just in case, I just want to apologize in advance in case I make any slip ups and give any spoilers for anybody that hasn't read the book here or not. So it has a lot of stuff to unpack. And I just want to put a quick backstory to this book. I've actually read this book before when it first came out like 5 years ago or 6 years ago now, 2013. And I decided that this year, for like every month, I want to do a review of female African authors for some reason. Like I just feel that there's a need to actually focus on that this year. And so I decided to start with this and to also see the book with a new perspective, really, to see it with new eyes. And what better way to do that than to start with this. Okay, so in summary, Americana is more of it's a well layered coming of age story about two Nigerian protagonists who um, deal separately or jointly deal with with issues relating to love, race, immigration, identity, class, culture, interracial relationships, mental illness, hustle, infidelity, so many things. I feel like I'm even missing out a couple of things. But what I really love about reading this book is how descriptive the writer was, how she's able to take even the most mundane things and just describe it. I felt myself like, wow, even the things I probably would see like, and just skip over, and she was able to address it in a way that you could use your imagination a little. You might not even need to use your imagination a lot. It's very, very descriptive. The only downside to that descriptiveness is, just stretching out a lot of things that maybe might feel unnecessary to some people. And I don't know, maybe that's what writers do just to fill up space. And the other thing that I loved about reading this book is how every character, even no matter how little their appearance was in this no matter how little their appearance was in this novel, they seemed like they had the potential to have their own story written about them. Like the writer could, decide to create a separate book based on their characters. Like characters had, it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but you just want to know what their own perception or their own reality was, because what we could see most of the time was just those two people, Ifemelu and Obinze, their own perceptions and their own realities. So also another thing I liked about the book was also how great it was to get to see the experiences of some young Nigerians who uprooted themselves from their homes and yeah, just settling in the whole immigration experience, really, which is not an easy process for you to uproot yourself from your comfort zone, from your home, and then try to settle and try to, you know, have, yeah, just settle in somewhere totally new, totally different, totally foreign. It's like it's not an easy process at all, honestly. And then something I also observed with the book was how she was able to point out, the shrinking and bending and the twisting and toning down that the um, Nigerian character had to, or Nigerian characters had to do when they were in their foreign lands, so, which was highlighted to show that also sometimes when you do a lot of bending and when you're not true to yourself, sometimes it can have like an effect on your psychology somehow. I mean, both of the characters had to deal with that individually, had to, I mean, they lost themselves individually and sort of found themselves again, sort of, by just, I don't know, like it's all there in the book, and then also finding themselves because they were separated also too and found themselves again. Overall, I would say this book, it's a great read, even though it's a bit, long and can be tedious. But I also didn't really like the end of the book. It was just towards the end, it was like, okay, a little bit rushed, but also the end, depending on the kind of person you are, the end might, you might feel a little bit annoyed at both of the characters, or you might feel like, okay, what's going to happen at the end? So it just wasn't a really predictable end, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with actually having ends that are not predictable. So I also, one thing personally, I just wish I read this book right before I went to um, the US for school. I wish I had read that sort of like shortly before I did, so that it would have been like a cushion. It would have softened the whole culture shock that I mean, well, I didn't really experience it like that, but yeah, it would have softened it a little bit. Like there are things that when I read it, it was just more of the Nigerian side I saw, and then reading it now, I was like, oh yeah, that definitely. I liked how she also was able to point out some of these, like the issue of race is something that people usually would just tiptoe around, but then she was able to, be serious about it and actually talk about it, and also, even though she was, in some places I felt like she was being shady about it, but then she had there was that conversation. And I know that a lot of people tend to, walk around it or try to act like there's not, that elephant does not exist in that. Like, it's not, some people just tend to sweep it under the carpet and act like, oh, that it's not a real thing. Maybe it's just figment of some people's imagination. Instead of actually accepting that, okay, I do not understand what it is. Like, as a Nigerian in America, I don't really understand what it is as a Black American. Really, I don't, like, our experiences are different, and so just because you don't feel a certain way doesn't mean, um I don't know how to describe it, but basically saying it's good to say, I don't know. It's good to say, I don't understand. Can you teach me? How can I do better? How can I act? How can I help this cause? Or how can I, in my day to day behaviors, how can I check my privilege and all? So that's something that I also enjoyed, how she did what she did in the book. So my least favorite characters from the book were Blaine and Bartholomew. If you read that book, those were my least favorite. And if you're about to read it, but I'm just going to tell you, I didn't really like them, even though they were just being themselves, like just who they are. That's who they are, really. But they seemed like, I mean, whoever they were, they just weren't good for. I mean, they weren't. They were stifling their partners, sort of. They were sort of stifling their partners, not supporting their partners in the way, they didn't, in the way their partners needed to grow. It's like they were being themselves, but they just weren't, supporting, really. That's all I can say. So they were my least favorite, especially that Bartholomew. And then Blaine started to get on my nerves at some point. I don't know why. I was just kind of, yeah. So I guess that's what Chimamanda does. My favorite character, I can't really say. Maybe if I read the book one more time, I might have a favorite character. But I did. I was rooting for Obinze at some point because, man, that guy had it rough. At some parts of the book, I'm just like, oh my god, like, let him just have a happy ending, just happy ending, and then that's who I was rooting for. But for now, I can't really think of who my favorite character was in the book. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Yes, it's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, in case you're not too familiar with how to pronounce the name. So thank you for watching this video. Let me know if you have any comments, if you like this video, if you like, the idea of doing a review for female African authors, and also if you've read this book before, tell me if there's anything I missed out on, what you enjoyed while you're reading the book, and yeah, if there's anything, so just let me know, comment, like. It's good to just get feedback and hear from you guys watching as well too. So cheers, thanks for watching.